showed a work in Venice called Omphalos, which was an installation with 2 large screens facing each other and 4 sculptures in between, and the sculptures were lit by the screen, the projection on the screen themselves, and so cast a silhouette onto the screens. One screen was showing the film forwards, one screen was showing the film backwards. The whole installation constituted a meditation on time. So in the afternoon, Carolyn presented a symposium on time, where she hoped to discuss specifically her interest in the first law of thermodynamics versus the second, where she presented a defiance of entropy, that she instead erred using the first law on the idea of increase rather than depletion. In my film, the Omphalos is imagined as a form that organizes time. The Omphalos is the stone that lies at the heart of the temple of Apollo at Delphi, the stone over which the seer, the prophetess, would look into time and let those who approached the temple know what they had in store for them. It was the stone that Zeus throws to mark the belly button of the planet when 2 eagles fly in opposite directions and arrive at the center of the world. And that center of the world is Delphi. It's the stone that is wrapped in swaddling clothes that allows Zeus to survive when Kronos, Titan Time, wants to destroy him, and so Zeus escapes. The one that's there at the moment, you can see in Delphi, is perhaps the real one, or perhaps a replacement. It's unclear. But the form itself is an egg, with decorations perhaps is the nets, the swaddling clothes that covered the stone to fool Kronos. So it's the form that fools time, and it's a form of origins, of the origin point, of the origin of time, from which time moves backwards and forwards, which is often part of a sensibility for world religions. From this point, time might continue backwards and forwards, because this point of creation, of birth, creates the universe. So the egg itself is a form of the origin point. The dome of the rock, which features in the film, has a similar decorative egg-like enclosure on the dome that is the roof. So it is an origin point for 2 major religions, sitting as it does on the temple in Jerusalem. But there are other forms in the film that play on the form of the Omphalos. And so it's a meditation, not only on these origin points of time, of these sites of desire, which organize our time and our beliefs, but also it's a question around form, which was interesting for me when I did the residency in the tower, to have forms that fall into the sea and wash up in Albury that I then remade and stuck onto the tower. There's an argument around objects and their continuance and the form that those objects take, that we might be hosts for the continuance of that form. We're there for the continuance of them. So it may be that forms organize us. And so the sculptures themselves, 4 lumpy plasterworks post-minimal gestures on tripod legs, recalling the tripod that the Omphalos sat in the temple. But there are also forms, creatures that are unknowable. In the ice block, slowly melting, or in the opposite film, gaining ice, are tulips, a historic marker in still lives of value and a memento mori of the passing of everything. And so these are either gradually revealed over time, or they accrete the ice over time. And these act as a marker of those things, value, depth, inflated value of the tulip, market of the golden age of the Dutch Republic, and the still lives of tulip paintings, or any still life, marks the passing of time, or the stabilization of time, a wish fulfillment that time might not move forward, that things might stay the same, a flower might stay always in bloom. So since Venice I've been working on epigrams from the Greek anthology, poems of memory, of memento, often for the dead, but certainly for the passing of time, and an inward journey to the garden, to the blooms of the garden, and the passing of their time, at a time when the world is still, when the world is not passing time, when the world itself is a still life, and there are questions abounding around value and how time is spent. So in this way, I'm continuing a meditation on time, experience, value, and the relationship there between experience and painting, or experience and drawing, or experience and the object that becomes the object of art, and become an exchange of time between the time spent by the artist and the time spent viewing, and that long historical relationship between what it is to be alive and what it is to be accompanied in life by the making and viewing of art and its relation to us. And gardens and the blooms of the gardens are forms that share in that experience.